Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk. So, wow. Is time travel actually occurring right now in our current reality? You know, there is a lot of evidence that might suggest such a thing is actually going on. First and biggest evidence, I think, is the Mandela effect. If you're not familiar with the Mandela effect, go check out my video, my Coffee Talk on the Mandela effect. I think you'll like that. You'll find it in the Coffee Talk folder, the Coffee Talk folder. So, the Mandela effect, if you're not familiar with it, in a nutshell, is the concept that some things are different in the history than how we all remember them. It's called the Mandela effect because some people believe that Nelson Mandela died 20 years before he actually died, according to this timeline. And many people feel like that they're living in a different timeline than the timeline that they grew up with. I will say this world I live in now bears little resemblance to the one I used to live in. And, everything has changed so much that it makes me think it could possibly be the Mandela effect. What other evidence do you have that someone might be diddling around with time travel and potentially changing our reality by going back in time, or shaping our future by looking ahead and making adjustments and changing things to give us a different future than the one we might have naturally had no one diddled around with the time-space continuum? So there is the whole Simpsons predicting the future thing. If you haven't seen videos on this, you should definitely check it out. It has there's a lot of evidence that somehow the creators of The Simpsons knew things that were going to happen before they happened. What other evidence do we have? There's a lot of people that think Donald Trump might be a time traveler because he is accurately predicting things. Like his win for the presidency. Was it just confidence when he said, I'm going to win? Oh no, I'm going to win. Oh no, I'm going to beat her. She can't win. She can't beat me. And lo and behold, he won. And no one thought he had a chance in Hades of winning. And he was able to win. And he was so confident and knowledgeable that he was going to win. He's turned the economy around. He said he would, and he did. Was it just confidence? Did he just know what he was capable of? Or does Donald Trump have a window into the future? I do find it interesting that when Tesla, when all of his research was confiscated by the United States government, it was given to one man to decipher it, a very famous and highly intelligent scientist by the name of Trump, who just happened to be Donald Trump's uncle, his beloved uncle. So he was very close with him. So did Donald Trump's uncle leave him a window to view the future? I feel like that some of the Mandela effects, to me personally, feel very, very strange. The Ford logo haunts me. I drew that logo as a kid right off of the car in our family's driveway, and it did not have that curlicue on the crossbar of the F. So what other evidence do we have that time travel might actually be going on right now? Well, there is all of this stuff that is either predictive programming or the telling of the future that's appearing in movies and television shows. There's a whole conspiracy theory around the Back to the Future series, that all through the Back to the Future series, they predict things that would not occur for 20 years into the future. There is many, many instances throughout history where people claim that people from the future came back to warn them about something or get them to do something differently. Many people, historians, believe that if George Washington had not crossed the Delaware, that we would not have beat the British and won our independence during the Colonial War. And there's an interesting story of how George Washington himself, in a personal journal, retells the story of how on the eve before crossing the Delaware during the Revolutionary War, he was visited by two tiny people. This also goes hand in hand with, if you saw a previous talk that I've done about time-traveling children, then you'll understand that the main guy in that, what is his name? Basiago, I don't know. The guy, the time-traveling child all grown up now that ran for president, that he claims that he and another child went back in time and saw George Washington and convinced him to cross the Delaware and therefore give him the energy that he needed to and the momentum to beat the British in the Revolutionary War. That had he not done that, we would live in a different reality right now. Basiago, I think is the guy's name, who claims to have gone back as a child. And George Washington's own journal purports that he said he was visited by two, he almost thought they were aliens or angels. He didn't think they were human. They were little glowing humanoids. Were they just children from the future? I don't know. You tell me. This is Coffee Talk. I don't believe any of this stuff. But I don't know. I am rattled by the Mandela effect. Are they messing with the space-time continuum? Is somebody time traveling? Is time traveling becoming common? We also have all of these time travelers from the future coming back and warning us of things that are about to occur. They don't claim to think that we could change them as much as I think they just want us to be prepared mentally. I don't know why. I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But there's a lot of people that claim to be time travelers from the future who have come back to warn us about things that are about to occur. Mainly war, famine, pestilence, natural disasters, things like that. Are people currently time traveling? Has time travel been invented? You know, Project Pegasus, which I talked about earlier, is not the only instance where people claim to be part of time travel experiments conducted by the deep state or the secret military industrial complex. But, you know, between these really, I'm sorry, but the Simpson thing creeps me out. You know, that imagery in a Simpson cartoon of Donald Trump before he ever ran for president, they show him going down an escalator, and Homer Simpson is right behind him on the escalator. And then there's an actual, and many of you might have seen this, there's an actual video footage of his campaign where he and Melania are going down an escalator, and it looks very much the same way with people holding up Trump for president signs and him waving. And it looks almost exactly like the cartoon that predated it. So there is some reason to think that potentially people at very high up levels might know what's going to happen next. What would you do if you knew your future? You know, one of the old time travel things is that we shouldn't know too much about our own future. What would you do if you knew where you were headed? Would you want to know? Would you want to know your future? Would you want to know it so you could change it? Or would you rather just let life unfold as it naturally would? You know, life is awesome because it is full of surprises. And time travel and viewing into the future could take away some of that awesomeness. People that think Donald Trump is a time traveler, they don't necessarily think he travels through time, but they think he has a window where he can look into the future. What would your future look like? Well, I hope your future is bright, and I'm such a lucky dude. It just seems like my future is always bright, and a lot of great things are happening in my life right now, and I hope they are for you too. May you have a bright future. Ha! Till next time.